Imagine the first light of a new world as wandering paths hardened into fence lines. Beside a simple shelter, hands that once foraged now learn the rhythm of planting, pressing grain into dark, cool soil. For the first time, we stay, we farm, and from these humble plots, villages begin to rise. Along the great rivers, the Nile, the Tigris, the Euphrates, surplus grain gave birth to cities, writing, and law. Power learned to count and command through taxes and ledgers. Bronze and later iron armed kings, while scribes measured the harvests that fed their ambitions. But as cities grew unequal, a new compass was needed for the human soul. In what we call the axial age, profound ideas took root. Hinduism and Buddhism explored duty and release. Judaism centered on a sacred covenant. Confucian and Taoist thought sought balance, while Greek inquiry tested the limits of reason. These philosophies traveled on pilgrim roads and merchant paths, carrying a new language of ethics from the court to the marketplace. Empires soon put these ideas to work, weaving the world together with infrastructure and influence. Persian roads, Roman law, and Han canals created corridors for governance, culture, and trade. Codified rules traveled the same routes that carried silk and spices. Later, Islamic scholarship and Song dynasty printing presses spread knowledge, while Mongol riders and monsoon winds opened new passages by land and sea. Far across the ocean, the Maya, Mexica, and Inca built their own magnificent worlds of cities, calendars, and terraces. This ancient architecture of connection still surrounds us. The passports in our pockets and the supply chains that feed us follow lines drawn long ago. We still navigate a world shaped by these first great networks. Then a salt wind carried a new world into the old, sparking a collision of continents. On a creaking deck in the early 1600s, a sailor tastes sweet cane and fear, while below, a chained teenager hears the drums of their homeland fade forever. This was the Columbian Exchange, a biological revolution of crops, animals, and microbes that remade diets and unleashed disease. Plantations rose on the backs of forced labor, fueling the vast and brutal Atlantic slave trade. Silver mined from the Americas crossed oceans, tying distant lives together through the cold logic of the market. As empires expanded with commerce, new ideas traveled with them. The scientific revolution measured the heavens, while the Enlightenment questioned the power of throne and pulpit. And when this new language of reason and rights crossed the Atlantic, it ignited. In city squares, crowds dared to name themselves citizens. The crack of muskets and the ringing of bells announced a new age, the age of revolution. Next came the engine. Coal, steam, and steel compressed time and distance, pulling cities together and setting the frantic new rhythm of the factory. As empires pressed outward, carving up continents, the pressure cooker of global rivalries finally exploded. It unleashed 2 world wars, the horror of the Holocaust, and a firestorm of decolonization that reshaped the map. A tense Cold War followed, a struggle of ideologies that also gave birth to global institutions and a new vocabulary of human rights. Now, electronic networks have made the world smaller and faster than ever, creating a truly globalized civilization with shared risks and responsibilities. How we remember this entire arc of history, from the first planted seed to the glowing screen, shapes how we confront the challenges of our time. And the next chapter waits, just beyond the edge of the world we think we know.